Now, say hi to YouTube, everyone in chat. I can't see you anymore, so if the Daleks come for the audio quality, ping me as much as you want. I will probably figure it out eventually. Now, Episode 5 of Helluva Boss. This is the bad one. This is the terrible one, the awful one. This is the one that everyone hates because it's so bad. It sucks so much that it snuck into someone's house and killed their children. That's what I heard. Apparently, this is the chatter that people have sort of consistently put in my comments anyway, that like, oh, unhappy camp, oh, that one, oh, that's the bad, oh, that's the, oh, that, and I'm not convinced. I don't know, like, every time people have said this about, like, it seems like every single episode of Helluva Boss is the bad one to some people, right? So every time people have said this to me, I am not so sure. According to the thumbnail, which I took a brief look at, it seems to feature Millie and then Moxie in drag? I didn't look at the full-size thumbnail, so I wasn't sure. But, like, if the two of them get to go on an adventure and maybe have some actual character development, that was another thing that was maybe a little disappointing about the previous episode, is that Moxie and Millie go on a solo adventure, but they don't matter. Like, there's no part of their characters actually. The fact that they get to confront Stryker again doesn't really seem to matter to them. Like, it's the sort of thing like, they go there specifically because they have a grudge against Stryker, and then there's no character interaction, really. Whatever. Let's see what happens. Okay, so that was the Sloth Ring. Was the place with the pink and purple skies and all the soft shapes and curves on everything.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on. Shit.
Well, if it isn't the deadbeat.
Well, if it isn't Nurse Pussyface.
You ain't getting
Well, I mean, it is a vertical yonic slit, so I guess I can see where he got that.
in here. How many times do I have to sodomize you with the taser before you take a hint?
So one thing, like, so this is actually interesting. We've talked about lip syncing before, right? Like, lip syncing is one of those things that's like, it's one of those disciplines that's part of animation that's like, if you fuck it up even a little bit, right? If you get it wrong even a bit, it can be really noticeable and really distractible, or distracting rather. And a character design like this is hard because the way we read lip syncing, right? Like, the way we understand lip syncing and lip movement, right, is all based on a vertical position with the tongue at the bottom, and like, so having a character like this, because like, you can see that they're doing the thing, they're forming the O sound, right? They're doing the open close, they're doing like the sibilants through the teeth, that they're trying to do like the best they can to lip sync what she's saying with the with the sounds that she's producing, even while the mouth is vertical. And that's like, that's a fucking tough, that's a tough job to have, man. They've managed it pretty well. Like, it doesn't read like perfect lip syncing because our understanding of that is like a horizontal mouth.
Well,
But it's pretty good.
The deadbeat.
Well, if it isn't Nurse Pussyface.
You ain't getting in here. How many times do I have to sodomize you with the taser before you take a hint?
As many as it takes to get me off. Now, enough with this foreplay. Where's Barb?
She checked out months ago.
Is that his sister? Is that who he's here to see? Huh.
But that ain't none of your business.
Wait, what? Wait, how? This is where the fuck did she go?
Yeah, like I'm gonna tell you, ass clown.
You know I kill people for a living, right, bitch?
Oh, I'm so fucking scared.
Fine.
Blitz! She's got a job now, a life. Don't fuck it up by finding her.
Oh, that's nice. Why don't you take that advice and shove it right between your pussy legs?
I mean, that's a thing to say to someone. But that, right, like... So she seems to verbalize Blitz's exact fear here, right? Like, we've seen him be this way, where he sort of considers himself like the point of failure in all his relationships, right? I'm the reason I'm going to be alone forever because I fuck up all my relationships and I fuck up everyone around me. So I'm curious to see how this is going to play.
Sir, there's a client here who wants to...
I'm sorry. You were saying. Well, it's just that I'm sure one of the other camp counts.
I really like that character design. Oh, that's quite cool. So this person was drowned, I guess? Certainly have an association with water, like webbed hand. Like, that's cool. They look like a Sahagin, as they're often represented in like a lot of media.
Well, it's just that I'm sure one of the other camp counselors killed me. I'm just not sure which one.
How could you not know?
I was out on the lake when my boat started to sink. Someone had drilled holes in it. The counselors are the only ones with keys to the boathouse, and they're the only ones who knew I couldn't swim. It had to be them.
We don't typically do investigations. I'll have to check with the boss. Pardon-moi, sir.
Not now, Mox.
Sir, there's a client who needs us to investigate his death, and we don't usually...
No time!
But sir, we really need the cash flow. And I was thinking, maybe...
What part of no fucking time do you not understand? Just handle it yourself.
You want me to lead on a hit.
I swear on all that is evil, Mox, if you aren't out of my office in -3 seconds.
You got it, sir.
Well, that's a case of creative interpretation. Yeah. I have been delegated responsibility. Oh, he's gonna take this so seriously. Oh, he's gonna work so hard. Aw.
We'll take the case. And I'll be handling this investigation personally.
Honey, are you sure? What about Blitz?
Honey, please. Blitz put me in charge this time.
He did?
Have a little faith in your husband, Millie. Although, maybe it's more a thing of like, wait, Blitz gave up control over something?
Oh, I mean, he did!
Right. And this is going to be the cleanest, most well-prepped, most surgical hit we've ever had. Don't worry, sir. We'll find your killer and give him what's coming to him. And or her. Or they.
Why the fuck wouldn't she tell?
Barbie Wire, huh? Previous experience in a circus performer. Looking for work. Is this Devil LinkedIn? Experience acrobat... subtitles getting in the way here. Acrobatics, endurance, stealth, improv, labor. Click on this ad and get 100 million. I'm not fucking with you, dude, for the love of Satan. Just click it. Blitz, why don't you have an ad blocker? You're in hell.
Tell you where she was going. I mean, did you even ask? But hold on, I'm getting another call. Hello? Oh, good. Did you find... Really? Where? Thanks. And I promise if we ever get a contract on your children, we'll make it quick and painless. Bye!
Okay, so Blitz is doing his own investigating / stalking. That feels like it's setting up for something real bad. Like, because it's Blitz charging headlong into something without giving thought to the feelings or consent of whoever he's... Like, maybe he knows something. Like, maybe he knows that she would want to be found, but,
Max, are you sure this isn't a little... much?
It's my first lead, Mills. It has to be perfect. Now, in front of you, you'll find a comprehensive guide to your cover persona. Memorize it. We've got a lot of work to do.
I like that he's putting on, like, it's my first lead. I'm the lead of this investigation. Like, he's putting on, like, a hard-boiled detective sort of affect. Camp, I Wanna Come More. Of course it's called that.
Okay, Millie. One last time for safety.
There is a thing of Mox like having just a very good time dressing up in drag, which is like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Like, I believe that that's a part of his character.
I am Maxine, the hottest, most popular girl at my school. And you are?
Your brother Miller. I like sports and fucking bitches.
You know,
The face is good here. I like that. Like, I like the use of the little cheek line to sort of puff it out.
Bitches.
you know, these kids are a bit younger than I was expecting. Maybe lose that last part.
Check.
All right, I think we're ready.
Hey, Mox. Check out that shady-looking fella over there. I think that's our guy.
Millie, I hardly think pointing out the first guy you see is the proper way to conduct an...
No, that's definitely him. That bag's full of money and drugs and what looks like a drill one would use to poke holes in a boat.
But that's all circumstantial at best. We need to methodically eliminate all suspects until we can be sure.
Now he's looking around and heading into that locked boathouse we heard about. That would be the perfect place to...
Oh, he was so excited. No.
Fine, Mox. We'll do it your way.
With my sleuthing skills and your killer eye, we should have this wrapped up in no time. Now, we just have to find the kids with the most influence. Oh.
Are we gonna do a Mean Girls thing? Is that... Are we doing like a Mean Girls riff here? Because there's a couple of ways this could go. It feels like it's setting up for Mox accidentally getting, like, way too involved in the social drama at the camp and sort of, like, having trouble keeping his eye on the investigation kind of thing. Oh, boy.
Target acquired.
So, he started a whole line of ground-up mints and tried to convince us he was high. Can you even believe him?
Oh, dear. That's a good eye roll.
Even believe him?
Oh, that's Derek. What a riot, right?
Who the fuck are you?
I'm Maxine. I'm the prettiest girl at my school.
Oh,
and
dear.
all the boys want me.
So it's just the thing, like, Mox is approaching this like he's acting in a play, right? Like, he's approaching, like, I need to give my character introduction so that everyone knows what my thematic role in the story is, right? Like, that's how he's approaching it, which is why it's very bad in terms of... Oh, dear.
My favorite color is hot pink. Because normal pink is so basic. I like horses, puppies, fast cars, jewelry, and I got my first period last year, and it was so...
Jesus Christ. So we're doing cringe comedy, huh? Oh, the face is good, though. The animator is clearly having a lot of fun with this. Because, like, Moxie is essentially doing this kind of... Like, I have only ever watched teen comedies from the late 90s. Kind of extreme Valley Girl parody. of what an actual teenage girl is like. And like this, it's really well handled, like especially considering like that Mox doesn't actually have human feet, right? Has these digitigrade legs. It's like this very theatrical overperformance, right? That reads as specifically excessive, right? Like specifically unbelievable in the way that it is hyper accentuating like every part of things that like just that you wouldn't accentuate unless you were putting on a performance. Like this pose too, especially like that peculiar forward lean. Feels so much like a pose, right? Like rather than a posture that a person would adopt in order to express something.
So, you want to be friends?
Oh,
What
Mox.
is wrong with your legs?
What? I was in an accident.
The same accident that fucked up your skin? You look like you spent 3 years in a tanning bed.
It's, natural.
Yeah, you wish. That botch job looks like it cost $5 in an alley behind Walmart.
Get lost, you fucking freak!
But
Ugh. Aw.
Oh my god, who is that?
Of course. And literally the subtitles like, yeah, we're doing like a bit of a Mean Girls riff.
Look how beautifully tan he is.
what?
I got it!
Hell strength. Yeah. Dead Yamcha pose. Again, much like with the Sailor Moon thing and the Family Guy death pose, show me an animator who won't take the chance to do dead Yamcha pose when it's presented to them.
That was the best spike I've ever seen.
Please, I need medical attention.
First aid is for winners!
Oh my god, he is so fucking hot.
Oh, you know, he's my...
We're not doing a thing where... Are we setting up, like, Moxie being jealous of Millie? Because, like, it feels a little bit like Moxie has this fantasy in his head that, like, I have this persona so down, I'm gonna be accepted, I'm gonna have friends, I'm gonna, like, I'm gonna nail this, where, like, both his ability to convince people and perform and do this thing is sort of both tied up with his thing of, like, my investigation has to be perfect, but it's also a thing of, like, he's unexpectedly experiencing a social rejection that hurts him in a way that he wasn't ready for.
My brother.
Fuck off, troll!
Hi, I'm looking for one of your employees. Her name is Barbie. Does she
Huh. Well, that's a conspicuous thing to cover up the, mark on the forehead. Huh.
work here?
Wait, what? Who are you?
Someone who's gonna get real creative if you don't tell him what he wants. Where is she, fucknut? I know you know. It only gets worse from here, asshole.
Okay, okay. She's out on a pickup.
Where?
It really does feel like Blitz is gonna get into something bad there. Oh, no. Hang on. We're not skipping past that. Hang on. Show me that fucking fire wheel. Oh, that's good. So, like, you get, like, the smearing, the managing of the color surfaces. Like, we have the yellow beanie. and like the line on the track pants that get extended out into these like smears, then a little bit of the red for her skin, then smoothing that in. Like, that's a really good management of the color palette of the character. And then like, look how fucking gorgeous that looks as it ignites. Look at that. Holy shit, that's good. That is just some good fucking effects animation. And then, like, that little sonic boom. Yoosh. Of course, the kid's still there. That's some gorgeous fucking animation, man. And landing on the kid also, because of course. Yamcha. And then at the same time, we're doing a thing where Millie gets like validated for... Okay. So like, Mox is experiencing a lot of pain from being rejected from performing femininity. Millie is experiencing euphoria from successfully performing masculinity. It feels a little, maybe a little, just a little bit like maybe there's some gender undertones going on here, some vague gender stuff, like a little bit, tiny bit of maybe some gender that's happening somewhere in here.
Max, did you see? I broke the record on the court.
Yeah, Millie, because you're competing with 10-year-olds. I will just say, like...
I saw.
Can you believe this? Everyone loves me. They're cheering. They've even posted videos of me online. Look!
Oh, that poor kid.
Every day as I walk around camp, all of these girls follow me around. I don't know why.
So they're specifically doing like a sing-along thing, which I think is meant to evoke like an after-school special or like some kind of like animated special thing.
Or what could it be?
Hey, Nard. Will you take a selfie with me?
Oh, I'm a regular Joe. Oh, I want the world to know.
Yeah, this feels very High School Musical, like in like the production.
I'm simple and plain. Why do all these girls keep screaming my name?
So another instance of a boat having holes in it, which like, huh. So that's one of the contrasts, right, with Moxie and Millie. Like this, their sort of pair dynamic is that Moxie overthinks things. Moxie is very much in his head, very intellectualizing, like tries to think through things, do things properly, do things by the book, do things by like proper procedure. Millie's, again, her personality, I feel like, as I've complained about many times, I feel like her personality isn't quite as explicitly developed as the other characters, but she's the more intuitive. She's the more like sort of like emotional, feeling kind of character. And this kind of seems to be playing to that specifically, because like one of the reasons why Mox's disguise doesn't work is because he has overthought it to the point of complete inauthenticity, right? Like Mox is performing a ridiculous character, like where he starts by listing off, like, I thought of all of these character details for my OC about all of the things they like and the place that they're from and what their brother's name is and like all of their hobbies and all the things they like, and like, and that makes it unbelievable because like rather than playing the character through feeling, he's playing it through like, I have intellectualized, I have memorized all the details, and by memorizing all of the details, by knowing all of the knowledge, I will be able to do the thing perfectly correctly according to all of the rules that are supposed to be there, and all of the rules will tell me how everything's supposed to go, and therefore it's gonna go perfectly, right? And Millie is like more reactive, more improvisational, more just like more capable of just like naturally being herself in a way that Mox seems to struggle with. So besides some gender stuff, like Mox, there's some autistic coding there, I think, with Mox, like in terms of his attempts to navigate social situations failing because the rules that he thinks are in play aren't in play. There's a bunch of unspoken rules that he doesn't know how to parse, that he keeps tripping over, right? Like, that's a neurodivergent feel.
I'm so ordinary, just a common dude.
It's like taking it all the way back up to fucking like Caesar. Okay.
But they're all up in my DMs. They keep sending me new.
Millie, that's a fucking adult. That's an adult man sending it. They think you're a child? Okay.
I'm nothing special. I'll tell you it's true. Miller, over here! I baked a cake for you!
Okay, so this character has now appeared twice, which makes my pattern-seeking brain go, wait a minute, they've appeared twice. That must mean something. So I'll take a shot in the dark and say that it's like, what's being set up is that it's clearly the guy with the drugs and like the drill and the whatever who was the killer. They're the one who did it. Like, and it's silly that Mox wanted to investigate more. If there's a twist, it would be something like, this girl is emotionally disturbed, like a deeply obsessive stalker. The person who died, who drowned, was killed by her because he wouldn't be her boyfriend. And the camp counselor person is like someone who's covering up for it in some way. Like, that would be me taking a shot in the dark at, like, if there's a plot twist somewhere.
For you! My name. Miller, I love you, Miller! Moxie, that was so fun! No wonder you sing all the time.
Not exactly low profile.
I know, but it's kind of nice having people cheer for me for once, you know? Instead of screaming and pain and horror.
Don't forget what we're here to do, Millie.
I haven't. I'm just waiting until you're ready. Have you been able to eliminate any suspects?
No, of course not. I can't get anything from anyone because they're too busy swooning over you.
If you want, we can go off the guy right now. I think he's alone in the cabin.
No! I have to do this right.
I tell you what. Why don't you try winning them over with something you're good at, like I did? How about your music? I can even help you since they already love me.
Yeah. Yeah!
Aw, that's sweet. Like, Millie clearly seeing that Mox is having some difficulty with this, trying to find a way to, like, bridge a solution, that's nice. Like, that's, because that's the sort of hacky way to play this would be to just instantly have the characters have conflict and, like break apart from each other. I like that there's, like, clearly, like, these are characters who care for each other very deeply and want to conflict resolve rather than have a fight. That's sweet.
That just might work.
Y'all wanna hear a song? All right! I know you all like me, but Moxine is the real deal, y'all. Let him tell y'all all about it. Mox!
Thank you. Oh, everybody look at me.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. I mean, you guys have amazing vocal... It's that thing, like, they have amazing vocal harmonies. And, like, it feels a little unfair to make Mox the butt monkey like that. Oh, dear.
I'm the greatest. It's plain to see that all you losers wish that you could be like me, but you...
He's still playing the character, right? Like, he has this idea that, like, I am Mean Girl character from the Mean Girl movie with the mean girls in it. It's like, Mox, you made up a very unlikable character. You made up a character that no one like that's designed to be very unlikable and unpleasant and abrasive. You can't be surprised when people don't like it.
You can't, cause I'm a work of art. Yeah, I'm hot shit, so pretty and smart. Oh, everybody take a look at me. Look at me, Moxie. Me, Moxie. Me, me, me.
Like even the subtitles turning on him. Jesus Christ. It's being very extra right now. It's genuinely funny.
You okay?
Go away!
Moxie, what's going on?
Nothing! It's just my time of the month.
Honey, no.
I just want to go home.
Hey, big guy.
Yeah, so I called it. Like, they get too invested in the thing. I do... That's the thing is, like, if there is, like, a gender thing going on here, right? Especially with Moxie, right? I do hope, like, there's plenty of seasons of Helluva Boss left, one hopes. I do hope that, like, they actually sort of dive into it a little bit. That, you know, there might be more than he to him, right?
No, you can do this. You're the best assassin / musician / preteen girl I know.
And investigator.
And investigator.
Neither of you have investigated anything while you were here.
I know it's been tough. Just keep playing to your strengths. You have all week to get it right.
Okay. Thank you.
That's the thing again, like Mox, like, and like as a, insofar as like if we take this as like a sort of classic like Saturday morning cartoon. By the way, these background trees are gorgeous. If we take this as like a classic Saturday morning cartoon Aesop thing here, right? The reason Mox is failing is because Mox isn't being himself. He's playing the character that he thinks is supposed to be successful or correct for the setting, right? Like, he isn't really showing off his own interiority. He's showing off, like this scripted, pre-planned, entirely fake version of himself that's based on a misunderstanding of what it means to be popular in the context of, like, a social thing. And, like, if we're taking this as, like, a Saturday morning cartoon episode, like, that's quite a clever way to deliver the message, like, of just be yourself, because the thing he's failing to do is be himself. Right? Like, because he doesn't, like, well, I don't know why exactly. Like, it's at least partly because this is a theater kid who's deeply invested in, like, I'm playing a role, right? Like, there's maybe some autistic coding there. There might also be some gender coding, right? Like, I know it's not that uncommon, like, for people when they transition to a new gender to feel like they have to perform a very certain version of that gender, otherwise everyone's gonna see that it's fake, like, because like, there's that struggle to fully internalize the confidence and the sense of belonging and the sense of being who you are, right? That it can be very, very difficult. Like, even if you have made the decision, even if you've made the leap and said, no, fuck it, I'm coming out, like, I'm being myself, to transition from that intellectual knowledge into that, like, emotional knowledge that, like, no, like if you're a trans girl and, like, you wear jeans and a t-shirt and no makeup, you're still a girl, right? Like, that can be a very hard thing to feel confident and at peace in, because, like, well, if I don't perform femininity by, like, dressing up and doing the things, then, like, is it real? Like, am I failing to perform correctly? Which, like, you can have a beard and you'd still be a girl, right? Like, it's like, cis women have beards all the time. Cis women have hairy legs, and, like, so there's no performance you can fail at that would make you no longer a woman, but the internalizing of that. Again, this is me, maybe I'm overthinking it, right? Like, because it feels to me like the episode is playing, like, it's implying some things about Mox's gender identity. It's implying some things about, like, maybe he's like his relationship with neurodivergence, with his identity. And I just wonder if I'm taking this too seriously, if I'm reading too much into it. Anyway. This is a fucking shark in the lake. Jesus. It's so over the top.
Mox, you'll never believe it. They want me to perform on stage tonight for the local news.
What the
Those
fucking
videos have
hurt?
made me some kind of human celebrity.
All week it's been, oh, look at Millard. Isn't he great? Oh, look how talented Millard is. We have a job to do, and you're off dancing for views. Why does it matter?
This, children, is called projection. This is what projection is. This is exactly how it works. That's a good question, Moxie. That's a good question for you. Why does it matter so much to you how those yokels feel about you? Why does it matter? What is it that you're so desperate to have validated about the female Moxie identity? What is it exactly? Why is it all of a sudden very important for you for them to accept that part of you?
So much how these yokels feel about you.
It doesn't. It matters how I feel about myself.
And that's Millie dropping some truth on him.
And for once, I feel like I'm important. Like I'm somebody to be proud of. And I had hoped that my husband would be there to support me half as much as I've supported him this week.
She's right. She's right. Yep, 100% she's correct about all of that.
Millie, I didn't mean...
Save it, Mox! You could have finished that job anytime if you had just listened to me. But you wanted to do things your way. So fine, finish the job, go home if you want to, but I'm gonna have my moment with or without you.
Oh, crumbs.
Yeah. No, I mean, she's just right, Moxie, I'm afraid. And that's the thing, is like, that's again one of the places that I feel Has-Been Hotel is very good at its characters, right? Because it's completely understandable that Moxie has this bad reaction, right? Because in this moment, like, again, this is projection, right? When Moxie says this, he isn't talking to Millie, right? Like, it's not about her. It's not about anything that she has actually done. It's all internal. It's all his feelings. Like, his, like, inferiority complex, his fear about failing on his first job. Like, I'm in the lead on this. It's gonna, like, that's all he's talking about. He's not talking to her. He's not even seeing her right now, right? And we understand why, emotionally, from his perspective. But she's still right. Right? He has been a jerk to her, and she has done nothing but try to support him, right? And because he's so bound up in what's going on with himself, he can't see that, right? Like, that's the thing about, like, when you have something that puts you in pain, right? Like, when you have, and that's the thing also about, like, Blitz and Stolas, is, like, part of the reason why I think Stolas and Blitz are going to hurt each other very badly is that both of them are too bound up in their own traumas, right? Like, and the thing about trauma, the thing about that is it makes you selfish. And it's this thing that can be really, really fucking hard to deal with, because especially if you have, like, a trauma, much like Stolas and Blitz, if you have a trauma that means you become a people pleaser, right? That means you become a people pleaser, you become someone who sort of like, well, my job is to sacrifice myself to please others. My job is to give of myself until other people are happy. Your intuitive sense of yourself is like, I'm not selfish, I'm unselfish. I have been unselfish my entire life. I've never done anything for myself. I've done everything for everyone else. And now that I finally do something for myself, oh, now I'm the bad guy. You can be very aggrieved at that, right? But it's like, being a people pleaser is selfish, is the thing. That's the weird thing about it. It's a selfish act to do that. A friend can't love you if they can't see you. A partner can't love you if they can't see you. And part of being a people pleaser is being a chameleon, right? Like never fully showing of yourself, like never fully, like this is me, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is who I am. You never fully show that to other people because you're afraid that if I do that, I'm going to get rejected, right? So I have to show the version of myself that has been precision calibrated to appeal to this person and everything they want. So you feel like you spend all of your time taking care of other people's emotional needs. You feel like everything you do is for other people's sake. But what you're actually doing is denying the people who care about you a chance to actually get to know you, right? A chance to actually see who you are and meet your needs. That's the other thing that's I have, like, before I knew I was a romantic, I've been in a relationship with someone who was a people pleaser like that. And one of my very big frustrations when I was trying to be a good partner is that they would never fucking tell me anything they needed or wanted, right? Like, they would never express their needs. So I would, because I have a sense of empathy, I was able to tell something's not right here. They're not happy. And it feels like it's my fault somehow, but I just could not get it out of them what the fuck it was that they needed from me, right? And that's very frustrating and painful. Especially because that also like some of my traumas, like I have some people pleaser genes in myself as well. So you have like a people pleaser who was unwilling to express their needs, and another people pleaser who couldn't get the person they wanted to please to tell them what they wanted, and that turned bad. That was not a great situation. So like it's hard and it's painful, but like sometimes part of being generous with someone else is like showing yourself to them, right? Like in all of your flaws and vulnerabilities. And that's hard. That's not easy. That can be painful. That can be terrifying. It can be traumatizing to do that even. But when you don't do it, like when you aren't able to verbalize your needs and express them, as Moxie isn't here, like Moxie isn't able, he doesn't know. He hasn't thought this through. He doesn't know why this matters so much to him. That's why he's asking, partly, right? Because he doesn't know, he can't verbalize his actual need, and so Millie can't support him, right? Millie is trying everything she knows to try and help out Mox, but because Mox doesn't actually know how to ask for the thing that he actually fucking needs, or why he needs it, or how he needs it, it doesn't work, and now Mox is like angry, hurt, and upset that it hasn't worked, and he's taking it out on her, and it's a toxic situation all right. Anyway, my point being, Jesus Christ, I wandered off the point for a while there. My point being, Helluva Boss does a good job of understanding, like, okay, this is the interiority of the character, this is why they're feeling the way they do. Let's get the audience to see that, so we can have a conflict without, oh, there's a bad guy, there's a good guy, right? Where someone can be correct and someone can be wrong, but it's not like, oh, this is the hero, this is the villain, this is like, oh, these are two hurt people whose damages are bouncing off of each other. Because Millie is clearly in touch with it, right? It doesn't matter how they feel about me, it matters how I feel about myself. That's the lesson that Mox needs to learn very badly. And for once, I feel like I'm important, right? Someone to be proud of. And this is a thing of like, that feels like it's following up on Millie having a complex about like not feeling that validation from her parents. And like it's been a while since I watched the episode. I'm trying to think back to the episode where they went to the farm, and it seemed, at least on the surface of what I remember, like it's not like her parents didn't give her that validation. So again, this is the thing about Millie. I don't feel like I intuitively have a sense of where she gets that, like where she has that, oh shit, like this is an emotional need I need filled, and I'm finally finding something. I don't know that I have an intuitive sense of where Millie gets this need from. It's understandable. Like, I do content creation for a living. I know how good it feels to have a whole bunch of people tell you that the thing you made is really cool, or that you're really good at your work. Like, no. I know the importance of that emotional validation. Believe me, I crave it. I need it. Like, I'm sitting here live streaming my reaction to a cartoon to like 185 people. You think I don't know what it means to need validation from the crowd? More that in terms of like, I understand, I feel a clear understanding of why Moxie has this need for social validation, given the dad that he grew up with, right? Like, given, like, We already know that Moxie's vulnerable to flattery and charm. That's why Chadwick was able to get with him. Millie feels a little bit more like a cipher here. Like, it's less clear to me where this is coming from, even if it's fully understandable. Anyway, maybe we should watch the rest of the scene.
And I had hoped that my husband would be there to support me half as much as I've supported him this week.
Millie, I didn't mean...
Save it, Mox! You could have finished that job anytime if you had just listened to me. But you wanted to do things your way. So fine, finish the job, go home if you want to, but I'm gonna have my moment with or without you.
It's that other thing again, like, it's very clear to me why Moxie loves Millie so much. It's very, very clear to me what he gives to her, what she gives to him, like what he gets out of their marriage, like the emotional support that he gets from her is very, very clear to me. Again, I don't feel like the show has spent enough time showing Moxie's half of the deal. Right? Like, what it is that he gives to Millie that she doesn't get anywhere else. Where, again, the expression is, oh, well, he's very kind and he loves me. And it's like, yeah, no, but that there's more... I mean, I know I'm aromantic, but I do know that there's more to a marriage than that. And more to, like, a true emotional partnership than that. Again, wish the show had, like, before we got to this, like, very interesting confrontation between the two of them. Like, this is a really interesting part of their relationship we're seeing here. How they handle and navigate conflict like that. That's interesting. I wish there had been, like, an episode or two somewhere prior to this that had dove a little more deeply into, like, what the foundations of their relationship is. Like, how they met, why they fell in love, like, something along those lines. Anyway.
Oh, crumbs.
It's here, man, I swear!
Open it. Thanks, Joe.
Oh, that was one of the, one of those crystals. We saw it stole us the thing of the lust crystal thing for succubuses to go to Earth, I think. That would be my assumption. So we're converging the storylines then. So whoever Stolas was looking for... Stolas. What the fuck am I talking about? Blitz. They're not the same person yet. Well, Blitz is looking for his sister. Apparently she's here? Okay. Wait, does this indicate that there's some kind of succubus interference with what's happening at the camp? Huh.
You ready to go on, champ?
I guess.
Great. Now get out there and put Camp Ivana Kamor on the map!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are you ready for a show?
Get the fuck off the stage! Kill yourself, nerd!
I am very proud to introduce to you someone with abilities never before seen on this earth. Someone with the raw athletic skill of an Olympian, the voice of an angel, the acrobatic technique of an indentured 12-year-old Russian ballerina.
Tone it down.
And a body that just doesn't quit.
Mox.
The best and most supportive person I've ever known. And the love of my life. My wife, brother.
Thank you.
Silly boy.
Dead, baby.
Speaking of,
You sure?
go get it, baby.
That was an interesting silhouette there. Almost as though those are pigtails hiding some horns, maybe? Those are some interesting arm profiles. They look a little bit like sort of the same arm shape that Blitz has, kinda. Huh. Funny that. Funny how that looks similar to things.
What in the sir?
Foxy, what the fuck are you doing here?
Trying to finish the job you gave me?
Christ on a stick, you're still working on that? It's been like a fucking week. This is why I don't trust you with Dick, Mox.
Jesus, Blitz.
And what exactly are you doing here, sir?
Apparently helping finish your botched job. But mostly I'm looking for my sister. Barbie!
My.
What? You know her?
Do I know her? That's my sister, fuckface.
What the fuck are you doing here, shithead?
I should be asking you the same thing. You check yourself out of rehab, no call, no note, and I have to track you down to this shithole with... The fuck is this?
No one. He works for me. And who's the little twink here?
No one. He works for me.
Sir, that guy's the target.
Oh shit, Barb. Sounds like your little boy toy got himself into some trouble.
The fuck are you talking about?
He killed our client, and now our client wants to kill him back.
You fucking what?
He found out about your drugs.
Okay, what's him?
Hear it, kid. Look, you're not killing my supplier.
Oh fuck, supplier of what? You're not back on that H8, are you?
Fuck no. It's just heroin.
Oh, thanks, Satan.
And then it drops a beat. Yeah, of course. I do love a good continuous gag.
So now you're peddling heroin. What's the point? That shit barely gets rid of a headache.
It's honest work, okay? And I thought it would be sure to keep me as far away from you as possible.
And you teamed up with Genius here because...
Do you have any idea how easy teenage humans are to manipulate?
Hey, no, I'm not.
Oh, Jimmy Wimmy, can you please keep loading up these Wuggy Wuggies for me?
Sure, Barb. Whatever you say.
Sir,
Barb, that's a teenager. Don't do that.
I've spent a week on this. I'm finishing it. One way or another.
Don't you dare! Come on, Blitzo. Haven't you fucked my life up enough already?
Good question about that. Because, like, I can imagine 1,000 reasons why Blitz would be completely obsessed with keeping track of where his sister is. I'm curious, like, what her feelings are there. Like, what is it that she feels he has fucked up about her life? Fucking all her boyfriends, possibly? Going so extra. She just swallowed that. That's so okay. Yeah. But Blitz is a lucky man. I don't think putting all the murder demons on cocaine was necessarily the best idea. Well, hey, that'll do it.
Fucking damn it! Thanks a lot, Blitzo. I'm out of a job. Fuck!
Barb, wait. I want to help you. Let me help you, please. You're clean now. Let's grab dinner. We'll catch up and we'll talk about...
You don't fucking get it! Just because I'm out of rehab doesn't mean I want to see you. I never want to see you, ever. Next time you want to find me, Blitzo, don't.
Looks like you did it.
No. You did it. I'm so proud of you, Millie. And I'm sorry I let you down.
Just don't do it again, dummy.
Now make out, yes! Right in front. Brother, sister, make out right in front of all the kids.
Internet sensation and local celebrity Millard Real Boy caught incesting tonight, showcasing a sickening
Jesus
display on
Christ.
deemed too disturbing to look away, and we won't.
Gonna be honest, Moxie, not too bad for your first solo mission.
Really, sir?
No, not really.
That's very cute. Like, he literally grows an aura. Aw, sweet boy. That's very much also just like a fucking edgy joke. Which again, like, one of the things that Helluva Boss does quite well is integrating shit that was my big, like, one of my big criticisms of the pilot, right? Like, is they were just a bunch of edgelord, murder, suicide, pisscock, whatever jokes strung together with nothing, right? Like, in service of nothing, doing nothing. Here, it's like more like, okay, we have this central emotional storyline, like this conflict between these two people, and now that they've resolved it, like, they can consummate their mutual love and attraction in erotic love. But then also, we're doing, like, it's a really well animated kiss too, frankly, especially with characters that have anatomy like this, but is in front of, like, a horrified crowd of onlooking children on national TV who all think that they're doing incest, right? So, like, the joke is in service of something, right? Like, it's not just Family Guy shit where it's like, wow, Lois, that's worse than that time whatever. It's not just a cutaway gag. It's like, it's integrated into the centrality of the plot, and it's a shitty, like, it's, well, not shitty, it's a silly edgelord sort of, like, offensive gag joke that's like, being offensive for the sake of being offensive kind of thing.
Sensation and local celebrity Millard Real Boy caught incesting tonight, showcasing a sickening display. Onlookers deemed too disturbing to look away, and we won't.
Gonna be honest, Moxie, not too bad for your first solo mission.
Really, sir?
No, not really. You're a fucking disgrace.
And then we undercut him at the last moment. Yeah, of course we do. Really? This is the episode that, like, that's like, oh, the worst one, the bad one, the terrible one. This is that one? This is the one everyone was so upset about? Why? It's like, it's mild cringe comedy. Like, it's like, and I'll be the first to say, I have trouble with cringe, right? Like, it's difficult for me to sit through like Moxie botching his introduction with these girls so hard, like that total rejection, because he just, like, because of understandable reasons, but still, yeah, that's hard to sit through. Like, that makes me cringe real bad and go, oh no, don't do that. Like, like, and I don't find it particularly funny necessarily, but it's also like, what? This is supposed to be that bad? It really isn't. Like, the central thesis of the episode is that Moxie has unmet emotional needs, right? Like he has this serious need to prove himself, serious need to like do the job right, like and prove himself, right? Like he has this inferiority complex, and because he has that, he fails to see what Millie's needs are, and that her needs are kind of similar. Like that's one of the things that I think it would be interesting if they explored more. That's a commonality they have. They both have that need for validation, not necessarily for the same reason, but very much in similar ways. So yeah, like, and that's what it's about. Like, that's the central thesis of the episode, is like this push and pull between like one person's emotional needs and issues interfering with another person's emotional needs and issues. And it's a fairly effective way to explore it, and also do some interesting gender stuff with the two of them. Which, again, I hope they'll actually explore a little bit more. Because it is interesting to me that, like, Moxie gets this surge of validation specifically for doing things that are, like, masculine, like, gets validation from performing masculinity. Which implies that, like she has this tomboyish thing, right? She has this tomboyish streak, that, like, this want to do things that are coded masculine, which she has not been validated for before. Like, which, you know. Also, the background work. I didn't really mention it much during the main watch, but, like, some really nice background work in this episode. I say this for every episode. I know. It's like, it's not I'm saying anything particularly new there. But I do like the forest environments that they have in the background here. Like, that's very... It's like, nice and lush. It doesn't feel like just nothing. It feels like some thought was put into it. Like that. Like, the layering over, like, the reduction in quality. Like, that's... That is a really nice background. Like, look at that little fucking mountain thing there with, like, that's a lot of... It's gorgeous. Also, I just appreciate a Yamcha. I appreciate a Yamcha gag. I just think it's funny. Something that's underexplored. Like, I do feel... I mean, I don't know that it needed to... Like, I don't know. It's something I hope they follow up on. Like, what went down between Blitz and his sister that she doesn't want to see him like that? Because it is notable that, like, the signals are pretty clear, right? That, like, hey, Blitz, your sister checked out a rehab. She didn't tell you. She didn't leave a contact address. The nurse has clearly been instructed not to tell you a goddamn thing. You had to sneak in, like, after hours, like, out of service, in order to just even try and get to her. And now it's really hard to find her. Those are signals that a person might send that say, hey, don't find me, actually. Like, maybe I don't want to get in touch. And he just powers through and ignores them, right? Which, again, Blitz being Blitz, it's sort of the thing of, like, well, I'm the one who's supposed to take care of my family. I'm the one who's supposed to help them. I'm the one who's supposed to, like, because I'm supposed to give of myself and sacrifice of myself to help my family and protect my family and save my family. And, like, even if I fuck up and even if I'm bad at it, I'm supposed to do that. That's what I'm supposed to do. And she's not taking that. She doesn't want anything to do with him. She doesn't want his help. She doesn't want him in his life. And, like, so he can't hear her, right? Like, he can't read her signals or understand what she's saying. He's not receiving her communication that, like, hey, don't fucking find me, until she says it to his face very clearly. And even then, he seems to have some trouble. Which, you know, like, do we know another relationship that we have with Blitz where someone is very heavily signaling their emotional needs, but Blitz simply isn't capable of receiving the communication because he's so focused and obsessed with, like, what his own role and what his own, like, what he's supposed to be to other people and how he's supposed to be, like, be useful to other people? Do we know of any other relationship where that's a pattern with him, where that's something that he does? I can't think of one off the top of my head, but, like, you know, maybe that's something to look out for in the future. I don't know. That could be a thing that comes back at some point. I do like Barb's character design. Like, it's a very, like, again, speaking of, like, not picking up on signals, right? I don't know, Blitz. There might be some clues in the way that she presents herself that she's not interested in being part of this family anymore. She might be indicating that in some way, that like the similarity affiliation thing she has with that particular part of herself is something that she's trying to get rid of or cover up or cross out of her life. I don't know. Like, it could be that she's trying to communicate that to you somehow. I do like her character design though, because she's not just like a palette swapped female version of. I also like that she has bigger horns than him. That's cute. That's cute. She's not just a palette swapped version of him, but the family resemblance is there, right? Like, mostly the same face shape, maybe a little shorter in the beak than he is. That would be the crystal she uses to travel with then, right? I do wonder about the white marks. Like, are those equivalent to tattoos for her, I suppose? Interesting. Yeah, resemblance, but not identical. I'm just trying to look through the character design to see if there's anything that stands out. Her horns are more curly than his, but I don't know if that has any significance specifically. Like, and also, like, the fact that she was an addict, right? Like, addiction is not something you fall into just because you're a bad person, right? Like, it's not something that happens to you just because you don't have willpower. When a person becomes an addict to anything, it's because the substance that they're addicted to fills a need, right? Like, they have some kind of emotional need in their life that's not being met in any other way. They don't have any way to meet it. The drug meets that need for them, and so they become dependent on it. Like, that's where addictions form, right? And so it's like, it's not just a matter of like the person and the drug, it's also the person's environment, it's the person's path, it's the damage that they've been through. And a lot of trying to rehab someone away from drug use, depending on the drug. Like, it's, if you're addicted to heroin, you need methadone. Like, that's not an easy thing to get off of, right? But a part of the process of getting someone off of drugs is to find some way to fill whatever emotional need that they have, so that they have some other way to get that than from the drugs. And that's why very often, like, that's part of the value of, like, support groups, right? Where you have these stereotypes about, like, yes, hello, my name is Bill and I'm a drug addict. Hi, Bill. Like, but part of the value of that is that fills a very, very powerful emotional need, which is community. Which is, like, to be surrounded by people who understand you and who can see what you're going through and, like, empathize with you, right? That's why part of that works. It's because it fills a deep emotional need that addicts often have. And that's something that gets made worse by the stigma, right? Like, we have all this stigma about drug use, about drug addiction. That means that when someone has a drug addiction, that can be extremely isolating because they don't feel like they can be together with anyone who isn't also a drug addict, right? Because they're the only people who could possibly understand, who could possibly, like, love them, be there for them, right? And that's something that makes drug addiction even fucking worse. Because if you don't have a support network, if you don't have people who are able to see you and empathize with you and care about you, who just moralize at you or see your drug use as a kind of personal failure of character, I think that you're not going to get the support. Anyway, that's besides the point. My point is, Barb specifically was introduced as someone who had been on a severe drug dependency. So the question is, what was it? What kind of pain, what kind of need was it that she was using the drugs to fill? And does that have something to do with Blitz? Like, because it feels like partly that she blames Blitz for her life being fucked up. So was it something that Blitz did that put her in so much pain that she ended up in a drug addiction? Is my question. Don't answer that, by the way. I'm trying to... Don't spoil things. I'm curious about that. And I'm curious about whether she's going to recur at all. She seems too major of a character to, like, not have show up again. But then we've not seen Millie's parents. Like, they feel like they would be a little important. I don't know. We will see Millie's sister again, right? I think there was like a short with Millie's sister. So she's gonna show again. So that's good. Yeah, okay, sure. Oh, Luna's still mad about the doctor. That's such a fucking Cards Against Humanity ass joke right there. Productivity brainstorm, come, question, like nothing, question mark, and a horse. That's very Cards Against Humanity. I will say that's probably also like, sometimes the edginess in this game feels kind of Cards Against Humanity. And that is a criticism. Because Cards Against Humanity is low-hanging fruit. But yeah, this was supposedly the worstest, most baddest, horrible worst. Like, Cherubs was worse because Cherubs had all the edgy joke shit, but nothing else going on under the surface. This is like, yeah, there was a bunch of cringe humor and like some edgy joke nonsense happening, but it was like, it was in service of something. Yeah, I don't get that. I don't know what people were so upset about with this one. Now, let's look up some voice credits. Oh, she was in Pitch Perfect. So I'm looking at Ginny Jung. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. She was in Pitch Perfect. That's pretty fucking cool. Bob's Burgers doing a couple of voices in that. She was in Adam Ruins Everything? Huh. As a like minor side character. Two Broke Girls. Oh. Yeah, so mostly seems like a jobbing... Yeah, like a jobbing character actor who's like mostly playing a bunch of... Yeah, minor roles, background roles, side roles on various sitcoms and stuff. Like a classic, respectable working actor's resume. Since 2010. Man, she's been going 14 years. That's cool. Bunked 911. Oh, she was in The Fosters. Cool. This is always so fascinating. I just like looking up actors like this. It's just seeing like the shit that they've been in and the stuff they've done. Monica Franco was Oh, she voiced Vaggie in the pilot of Has Been. I see. She's got Smiling Friends, Class Acts. Oh, she was on the JonTron TV series. Well, it can't all be perfect. Oh, she did some voices for Final Fantasy VII Machine Abridged. Mashed, Fazbear and Friends? Yeah, she's done like some YouTube work and stuff. And some visual effects. Hang on. She's a visual effects production assistant on the show, also. On Helluva Boss. That's cool. And she was an editor for Oni Plays. That is an eclectic... That's an eclectic backlog. Same thing with Lyle Rath, who's like the lifeguard here. Helluva Boss, Amazing Digital Circus, Smiling Friends, Class of 09, Cyanide and Happiness shorts. Flapatron, also on Machine Abridged, Final Fantasy VII Machine Abridged. Did something for Oni Plays as well, as like did a voice for that. He was Jaffe in Helsing Ultimate Abridged. What, really? Oh, that's cool. Done some work as a writer on a bunch of things. Nothing I've heard about, but then, you know, I haven't heard of everything. And some work as a director on some music videos and stuff. Cool. Like, people working on this fucking show always have such interesting resumes. I have this weird idea in my head that I'm going to read the credits every single time, and eventually I'm going to start recognizing the names. Hasn't happened yet. But I do want to take the time to look at them, just because, you know, I'm making content out of it. Parry Grip, of course it's fucking Parry Grip again. Of course it is. God damn it. Of course it's Parry Grip again. Parry Grip is such like, I don't know what, like, is this mostly what Parry is doing these days? Like, what he's doing these days? Because, like, I remember when he was, like, the earworm king of YouTube. Like, you could not escape fucking Parry Grip melodies everywhere. So I wonder if, like, his main thing now is, like, composing for cartoons and stuff. Of course, Sam Haft doing the big 80s power ballad. Invoicing Hillary Locke. Invoicing is, like, when you're working in a studio production, you have no idea how important the fucking invoicing person is. Holy shit. Nothing gets done without the invoicing person. I'm not kidding. This is not me being funny. This is, like, you... If you don't have someone keeping track of that shit, nothing is gonna happen. Yeah, I liked this one. Like, I'm sorry. It's like, if people were expecting me to sort of like turn on this one and say, worse than the fucking no. I liked it. Like, it had a strong central thesis, right? Central thesis being their relationship. It had a good B plot, like a solid B plot that's like not really resolved, but which at least sets up something interesting for later, like maybe provides a little bit more insight into what the deal is with Blitz, which specifically is like the relationship with his sister. It's like, okay, that seems to be following on from some threads that are already playing. Yeah, like it's a bunch of cringe comedy and nonsense, but it's in service to a central storyline that works. Which is worse, this or Cherubs? Cherubs. Cherubs is bad because it doesn't have anything to say, right? It doesn't expand on any relationships. It doesn't do anything with the characters. It's just a vehicle for jokes, right? This is like, no, we're here for the relationship between Moxie and Millie, right? We're here for, like, insight into, like, how Moxie feels and what he's doing, how he's, like, why he behaves the way that he does, why their relationship works. And, like, I have my criticisms. Again, this thing about Millie not having enough character to... Like, it feels like she hasn't been developed enough for this conflict to really land. But, like, this observation here, like, I think this is fire. Like, the observation that, like, Moxie's projecting, he lashes out at her, and she very rightfully points out that, like, she's not the problem here. She's been there, she's been supportive through the whole goddamn thing. And, like, hasn't pushed back on him even once. And maybe he should fucking appreciate her a little bit more. And it's like, that's very true. And that feels very real. Like, in terms of, like, problems that a relationship can run into. So, like, yeah, I liked this episode just fine. I don't really think I have that many specific criticisms of this episode. It's more structural stuff that relates to the rest of the series, right? Again, Millie having not enough characterization, that sort of thing. I don't think I really talked about this at the time, but these shots are also pretty gorgeously animated. Like the thing with the fucking leaves blowing out of the portal, the color contrast between, like, the blue and the cold, and then the warm hues of the real world. It's like a gorgeous shot. I do love... I can see you now, by the way, chat. The special effects team went hard this episode. They did. There's a bunch of really good visual effects in this episode. The big problem is that this was supposed to be a Millie episode, and Millie still got little characterization. No, like Millie got characterization. Like, she got quite a lot of characterization. At least in my view, the problem is that the characterization she got wasn't really following up from anything, right? Like, where Moxie's characterization feels like it's following on from things we already know about him, like problems we know that he has. This feels like it's not really following on from anything that has been pre-established about Millie, right? Like, it's not really following on from anything that Millie seemed to have been about before this point. So her having this conflict, having this need for validation, feels like it comes kind of out of nowhere. So, like, I don't think the problem is Millie doesn't get characterization. The problem is that her characterization doesn't feel like it came from or was going anywhere. Because the work to set it up or like create those plot threads to pull on hasn't really been done by the series. I still feel Millie needs a focus episode for her alone. Yeah, like, I agree with that. Like, it's not so much that this episode doesn't develop Millie, it's that more work should have been done to develop her before that, right? Because, as is said in chat, Millie feels like an accessory for Moxie. Yeah, at her worst, that is true. Like, at her worst, it is true that she feels more of an accessory for Moxie's issues, rather than a character with, like, an interiority of herself, of her own. And that's why, like when Millie has this thing of, like, she feels this intense rush of validation for, like, performing masculine activities, that feels a lot like that should have been in the episode back on the farm with her parents, that, like, we had this sense of, like, they keep trying to, like, make her be a girly girl and make her be passive and not go out and do things, or, like, they over coddle her or protect her. And then, like, at that point, this would feel like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense with the parents that she has, that, like, that part of her has felt stifled her whole life. That would make more sense. But I didn't get the sense from her relationship with her parents that there was that part of her life, right? They should have erased Cherub and made a Millie episode instead. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if at that point in the production they were ready to do a proper Millie episode, but, you know. Yeah, the parents are awesome. They straight up say you should have been able to handle Stryker. Right, like, it's like, it feels like Millie would have been encouraged to act out, like, her performance, like her physical abilities, by her parents specifically, and validated in that. It's more about that to me, right? Why do people hate on Cherub? Like, I've outlined my problems many times. It's that it's a bunch of jokes that are held together with no central anything, right? Like, it's just, here's a bunch of jokes, they're edgy, it's haha suicide, haha the world is terrible, kill people, blah, blah, but it doesn't have anything on its mind. It just wants to be a series of jokes that are held together with, like, a vague central through line. Which, again, as I've said before, that's completely fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that inherently. It's just, in the context of the rest of the episodes of this show, like, it's like, that doesn't feel like it belongs with what the rest of the show is trying to do, right? But, you know. Might be classic eldest child syndrome. Yeah, sure. I can see a million reasons why Millie would feel this way. I can see a million reasons why this would be important to her, right? I can see a million reasons why. It's just, I don't feel like the show has particularly established it so far. Because, like, I do like the idea that, like, in this episode, right, Moxie feels very overshadowed by Millie, right? Like, he felt like, this is my mission, I'm gonna do this, it's gonna be perfect, I'm gonna prove how good I am at this. And then he gets here, and as, like, Millie gets all the attention, Millie manages to integrate her persona with the camp kids easily. Millie has no problem, like, being herself and, like, getting people to believe in who she is. And Moxie fails that immediately, so Moxie feels overshadowed by her. The interesting place to take that for me would be like, oh yeah, Millie feels overshadowed by Moxie, and that's kind of there, right? That's kind of here in like this bit, right? Like, where Millie points out, like, I solved this immediately, right? Like, we figured out what it was immediately, but you wanted to keep this going, so I went along with you. I supported you, right? It would be interesting if Millie had like a feeling of being overshadowed by Moxie most of the time, like that his emotional needs overshadow hers. That like she spends more of her time supporting him, than he really does sort of helping her with her ambitions, caring about what she wants, where she wants to go, because she loves him, right? Because he needs the extra support, but still that's a difficult emotional position to occupy in a relationship. That would be interesting, but again, the show hasn't really done the pre-work, like the work ahead of time, to really set that up for a thing that can be paid off, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't see your name. I ... Sorry for making you cry. I didn't mean to do that. But no, I've been there. I know what that feels like. I wonder if the cringe people feel towards Moxie be because they see themselves in him a little. I mean, given the fan base of this particular show, right? Having an episode where someone tries to fit in to a social context with normal people and then has a lot of trouble fitting into that social context. No, I can't imagine why people would see themselves in that. I can't imagine why someone would go, ooh, that hits too close to home. I'm uncomfortable being perceived like that. I can't imagine why someone would have trouble sitting with the discomfort of like, ooh, this is someone failing really badly in a social situation and being emotionally rejected by people who want nothing to do with them because they think they're weird. I can't imagine why the fan base of this show would have some emotional trouble sitting with the discomfort of that. I can't imagine any of us have any kind of trauma related to that. That doesn't sound like the fan base of Helluva Boss, does it? Like, I can't see that. Everyone who watches this show is so well-balanced and emotionally normal. Like, they're not very online, particularly. They don't have all of their friends on the internet and almost none of their friends in real life. I'm sorry, was I being too mean? I was able to read you like that because that's me too, by the way. Just so you know. But yeah, no, like, I think this is a good episode. Honestly, like, there's... Like, my criticism of Western energy, right, like, was that it just sort of has the whole, everything that it wants to say, everything that it's about happens at the end, right? Like, it's all in the conclusion, right? And everything that happens up to the conclusion is mostly kind of disposable. It's mostly just kind of going through the motions to get to the conclusion that it wants to get to. This episode is much better structured. Like, it's much better paced. Like, it has a much stronger setup, middle, and climax. That's, like, much more focused on developing a central storyline that it pays off in the end. Whereas, like, it felt like Western Energy was trying to do a rug pull of, like, haha, this is a silly, funny comedy episode of, like, oh, Stola's in trouble. And then, oh, no, he's actually hurt for real. It felt like it was trying to pull off that rug pull to sort of surprise the audience and didn't quite manage it. This one is, like, much more clear and purposeful in what it's trying to do. It has a strong A plot, it has a strong B plot, it weaves them together at the end, where it's like, oh, the A plot and the B plot are actually kind of connected to each other. Fancy that. The connection is a bit weak. Like, I don't think they really needed to be connected. I don't think it's really necessary for Moxie to be sort of part of the confrontation between Millie and Barb, between Blitz and Barb, but it's also not detracting, right? Like, it's like sort of structurally like, oh, that feels good, that the things converge and come together into one point. Like, so I think structurally, in terms of craft, I think this is more tightly written than the previous episode, frankly. Like a lovely little piece of like solid cartoon storytelling. Despite her yikes, Barb's is a gender vibe. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine, like, more than a few people get some gender out of this. But yeah, I like this episode. I thought it was good. I don't really know why so many people were so insistent that this is the bad one. Frankly. Noises of two lovesick imps about to raw dog begin. That's good subtitling right there. I so want to see the gender analysis of this. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm not necessarily the best guy to do that, given that, you know, but like there is some gender shit going on with Moxie, at the very least. And if Millie had more development, I would feel more like sort of confident in saying maybe that Millie has some gender stuff going on, but there's definitely some with Moxie, like especially the relationship between performing and being, right? Like where performing and being are not the same thing all the time, right? And the difficulty in navigating that he has. I genuinely could not watch this as episode in one go because it was actually pulling my head into my body forcefully and trying to get away from the cringe. Yeah, and that's valid, by the way. Like I there's definitely a point in my life where I could not have handled the social awkwardness either. Like, I could not have handled seeing Mox fuck up socially so badly because it would hit too close to home for me, right? Like, because I've been in that, like, I have ADHD, right? Like, I'm neurodivergent. I have been in that position of, like, trying to integrate or fit in with a social group and they just detect that I am wrong in some way, right? Like, that there's something about me that's not quite right, and they shy away from me instinctively. It's like that, yeah, no, I've been there, had that experience my entire teenage life. Cringe is worse than not progressing the story like Cherub. Yeah, I guess. Like, I guess for some people, like, the discomfort of it is probably worse than, like, the discomfort is worse than the structural problem, right? What do you think the worst episode of this season is? I don't know. I'm only up to episode 5. I think I'll wait until I've seen all of them before I make that call. So far, like, honestly, let me just look at X's and O's for a second. Yeah, no, because X's and O's was really, really solid. Seeing Stars was really, really solid. The Circus is like, I guess the one I have the most criticisms of was the Circus, just because I don't really like the, oh, they met as children trope, but that's not really a problem with the episode. That's a personal issue. I think, honestly, like, the episode that I have the most criticisms of is Western Energy. Because I just don't think the rug pull that it's trying to do, I don't think the thing it's trying to do with, like, the revelation of vulnerability, the conclusion that it's building up to, I don't think that it's structurally very well managed. I don't think it really manages the balancing act of, like, its tone and trying to, like, manage the audience's understanding and, like, put them inside of, like Blitz's head in that way. I don't think I think it tries to do something really cool and interesting. I think it's well executed on a technical level, but the structure, the storytelling of how exactly this gets pulled off doesn't quite work, and I think it misses a really important opportunity to give Moxie and Millie some more characterization. Like, if Unhappy Campers had been a direct follow-up to some relationship, a little bit of relationship friction between Moxie and Millie that had been set up in episode 4 here, I think this episode would have been way, way stronger, right? Like, because that's the thing I was complaining about, that there wasn't really the setup of what their relationship is like to fully make the conflict feel like, oh shit, this is something culminating some threads that have been boiling for a while, right? Which I feel like this episode could have taken the opportunity of Moxie and Millie on a road trip together trying to solve a case, track someone down. That feels like an opportunity to do that the episode just wasn't taking, because that's not what it was trying to do, right? So I think Western Energy, like, that's probably the weakest one I've seen of the season so far. Just because it's the central thing it's trying to do doesn't quite land. And that's like a big mark, right? Like, that's a big problem. Anyway, I have some actual work I need to do, I think. So I should probably cut this short here. But this is nice. It's been a couple of, like... Well, before I say that, I should, like... An hour and a half. Okay, yeah, it's been a couple of short reactions for me. For me, these have been brief. For me, these have been, like, I've kept myself in control. But, you know, I'm sure that there'll be a later episode at some point that will give me cause to spend a lot more time talking about it. Right, chat? Like, I know you people have been posting like this zipped mouth emoji a million times. I think something's coming. Yeah, there we go. So I assume so. So it's nice that we could handle these a little bit more quickly, like only taking 3 times as long and twice as long as the length of the episode itself. You know? Exercises in self-control. Anyway, well, my cat is meowing like a motherfucker to get in here, so I think I'll cuddle with my cat for a second, and then I'll go do some work. And in the meantime, bye!